Hey there, creepy peeps, and welcome back to my channel. Today is another creepy book club episode. Alright, so for those of you that maybe don't know, I feel like I talk about it a lot. I do have a creepy book club, like an actual book club. Well, by actual, I mean it's on Goodreads. We don't actually physically meet, but it is on Goodreads, which a link to my page on Goodreads is in the description, so you can find the club that way. It's literally called Creepy Book Club. So if you want to join and read along with us each month, we just read one book a month. You know, super chill, super laid back. So today I'm going to be talking about DRACUL, which was our February pick. All right, so because I'm awful at summarizing everything like I've been doing for the past couple of creepy book clubs, I'm just gonna read the summary from the actual book itself. It is 1868 and a 21-year-old Bram Stoker waits in a desolate tower to face an indescribable evil. Armed only with crucifixes, holy water, and a rifle, he prays to survive a single night, the longest of his life. Desperate to record what he has witnessed, Bram scribbles down the events that led him here. A sickly child, Bram spent his early days bedridden in his parents' Dublin home, tended to by his caretaker, a young woman named Ellen Crone. When a string of strange deaths occur in a nearby town, Bram and his sister Mathilda detect a pattern of bizarre behavior by Ellen, a mystery that deepens chillingly until Ellen vanishes suddenly from their lives. Years later, Mathilda returns from studying in Paris to tell Bram the news that she has seen Ellen, and that the nightmare they've thought long ended is only beginning. A riveting novel of gothic suspense, DRACUL reveals not only Dracula's true origin, but Bram Stoker's, and the tale of the enigmatic woman who connects them. All right, so DRACUL is written by J.D. Barker and Dacre Stoker, who is actually the great-grandnephew of Bram Stoker. He's currently managing the Bram Stoker estate, and which I thought was super cool, and that's a really cool selling point for a book. I feel like if I'm gonna read any kind of take on the Dracula story, I want it to be by somebody who's actually related to Bram Stoker. Very cool. So like story-wise, it's a really interesting story. It's kind of like a prequel to Dracula, kind of. It's told through various letters, diary entries, that sort of thing. So, you know, we're mostly with Bram through his childhood and up until, you know, like his early 20s. The other character we get to hear a lot from is Mathilda, who is Bram's older sister. I think she's like meant to be older by a year. It's fun, and I thought she was a really great character, kind of like a very well-rounded female character. I feel weird saying that, you know, she's a you know, she was a real person, but I wish we could have gotten a little bit more from her, but I know that it has to mainly be from Bram's point of view, obviously. I also really liked the more or less chronological, you know, timeline of the book. So like I said in the summary, it does take place like in the present. So we're flipping back and forth between chapters that start off with now, which is Bram being stuck in the tower. And then we have like flashbacks of journal entries and letters and things like that that go through Bram's childhood leading up into this point. And I feel like it was constructed really neatly that, you know, we're just introduced to Bram in the tower, and we know that he is stuck there for some reason. He's trying to keep something out, vampires obviously, but we don't know why or how he got there. And you know, and then our flashback takes us all the way back to Bram's childhood, and it leads us up into that point where, you know, it finally meets and we see how he got to that point, why he's there, and then, you know, the story continues on a little bit after that. But I thought it was constructed really well, and with enough mystery to keep you going, because you want to know how he got to that tower, who it is that's actually waiting for him outside the tower. We don't know if it's Dracula, we don't know if it's Ellen. So I thought that was really a really cool way to construct the book. There is a author's note at the back, which is actually quite a long author's note here, and it has a couple of images of like legitimate like notes and journal entries from Bram Stoker. I'm summarizing it here. There's a lot of info in this author's note, but it more or less tells you that Bram actually believed in Dracula, or actually believed in vampires to an extent, and it, you know, kind of very mysteriously hints that there was a lot tales and events that Bram had to take out of the original novel. Would have hinted at kind of like the real story, I guess, so to speak. I don't know that I'm gonna subscribe to the belief that Bram Stoker actually thought vampires were real, but it's an interesting idea to entertain nonetheless. Also very interesting if you're like me and Dracula was one of those formative novels for you. I very distinctly remember first reading Dracula and it actually keeping me up all night. So I basically read it in one sitting, kind of just as it was starting to get scary, and it was like, you know, something like 2 in the morning or something. And you know, of course, when you're reading something scary or watching something scary and all those little noises that your house makes at night, all of a sudden, you know, they're, you know, you never noticed them before, or you understand that they're not scary. But when you're reading something like Dracula, all of a sudden they become terrifying. Yeah, that was essentially my experience, and I ended up just staying up the rest of the night and finishing it because I was too scared to go to sleep. In terms of like themes, I mean, vampires are often connected with illnesses or viruses, and there's a lot of different vampire movies that have come out that kind of play on that a little more heavily. Quite clever in that it kind of turns it on its head a little bit. So instead of vampirism being a virus or an illness, it's a cure. I mentioned in the summary, Bram spends a lot of his childhood in bed, being very sickly with kind of like this unknown illness, and he can't, you know, go outside a lot, spend a lot of time outside. He can't, you know, he's bedridden for most of the time, and he's essentially cured by Ellen, who is a vampire, if you haven't gleaned that already. They find that out later, of course, but she essentially cures him by giving him a little bit of her blood, not enough to actually turn him into a vampire, but he kind of is like a hybrid a little bit. I thought that was an interesting kind of twist on it. So instead of vampires being the virus, they are the cure to something else, which I thought was cool. Overall, I loved it. I thought it was real good. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5, and I'm realizing right now that I didn't write down the other ratings like I normally do. So they'll pop up on the screen so you can see what it got on Goodreads, Barnes & Noble, and Amazon. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I think I posted it on Twitter too. You already know what the March book is, but of course I'm gonna let you know right now. It is Last Days by Adam Neville. This is our March pick. Adam Neville also wrote The Ritual, which was turned into a Netflix film a couple of years ago now. If you've already read DRACUL though, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about it. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here and become a creepy peep today. I post videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can ring that notification bell down there to be notified every time I post a video, even though it never ever works ever. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay strange. Bye. This video is brought to you by all of these awesome Patreon supporters who are listed here on the screen. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you want to find out the perks to being a creepy patron peep, you can follow that link that's in the description box. And if you want to check out more videos, you can click the video that's on the screen right now.